Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Empowerment Project podcast. I am Andrea Bosco, and we have the lovely Dr. Shar here.
Hey everyone.
Welcome back. Thank you for being here. So, we don't have Christina here with us today. It's back to the duo here, and we are talking about something really great today because we're kind of bringing back almost like a check-in of a discussion we had at the beginning of the year. So if you didn't listen to, I think it's like episode number 5, or it's called Lessons from 2024 and Setting Intentions for 2025. So Shar and I had a great discussion back in January, and we set our intentions for this year. And we talked about the words that we were sort of bringing into this year. And Shar had some great words. I had some great words. And now that we are in the middle of March, so we're finished the first quarter of the year, we thought it'd be a good time to revisit our words and just check in with what's happening. And even in this short period of time, it's been pretty incredible what has sort of manifested and what has happened in our lives individually and together that have really brought those words and those intentions forward. And so we want to talk a little bit about that and just even the power of setting intentions and how manifestation happens with just our intentions. So, Shar, why don't you start with maybe just reminding everyone what your words or word was this year, and then kind of what's been going on.
Yeah, so my word for the year was no.
No.
No, 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 not doing no. Um, and what's interesting is, when I first put when that word first came to my head, it was a word that made me feel like I needed to choose myself first, above and above everything and everybody else. And I know that sounds really selfish, or it may sound selfish to people, but what I knew with that word and why it resonated with me was because I needed to focus on me and filling my cup and really tuning into what I needed in order for me to give. Like I can't give from a drained battery. So no for me was really about choosing myself first. So so that's kind of in the physical sense, right? So
Mhm.
over the past 3 months, and I'm glad that we're checking in because a lot has happened even for me. But over the last 3 months, there's been situations where I could feel, um, my I felt like I was being pulled in directions that my my soul, my spirit, my mind, my body didn't really want to go in, but I was being pulled. And, the old version of myself would have just, been pulled along for the ride. And you know what? I was able to stop myself. I was able to stop myself and not react right away. So when I was being pulled, I was able to say, okay, let me think about this for a second. Let me see how this could potentially work before I say yes to you. And that whoever it was and whatever the situation was, everyone was fine with that. And when I reeled back in and I really sat with myself in these different situations, I realized that no, it's not something that I can do. Like, so for example, I had a day planned with my daughter, and I got a call from my mother saying, "Oh, guess what? This is happening and you should come." And I think the old version of myself would have literally either canceled my afternoon with my daughter, or I would have cut it short and I said, "Oh, we have to go and do this because, your grandma's calling me and I need to go and we all need to go." And I was able to say to my mom, "I'm sorry, but this is something that I have had planned with my daughter for so long, And I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm not rushing it. This is a very special time for me to be with her. We were actually dress shopping
Mhm.
for her graduation. So I said, and whatever plans have been made, they were very last minute. So I'm sorry, but the answer is no. I said, you can, I'll, if you want, before you leave, you can check in to see where I'm at. But you know, I don't know if this is going to work out. And, she called multiple times. Oh, where are you? Are you done? Are you done? And I'm like, no, I'm not done. And I on purpose took my time with my daughter because I didn't want to feel that my attention was being dragged or pulled, or even like I wasn't present with my daughter because I was so worried about doing stuff with mom. So that for me was huge. Like, so that's like a physical example of where I said no, and I was able to stand my ground and boundaries, and I was able to stay focused and on purpose, and in I had full intention of being with my daughter. That's one. But then the other thing that I'm realizing is no is also coming in with old programs and belief systems. So, you know, if there was fear around work or my family or my kids, I've had to say no to those old beliefs and patterns. And so what has really stuck with me, and my mantra every morning now is, and I thank David Guillaume and his
Mhm.
podcast and the stuff that I've done with him, but um I have trust and certainty that everything is from the creator, is good, and is there to show me how to be better or how to change. And so I feel like even when I have those thoughts, or when I feel like I'm about to react to something, and I'm not saying that I've stopped reacting to things, but even when I feel like I'm about to have a reaction to something, I'm stopping myself. The no is no, Shar. Like, get yourself together. Remember, this is all good. What is it teaching you? What is it showing you? How can you look at this situation as a lesson versus something that you have to be defensive about or you have to react to? So that has been huge for me. That has been huge. Like the fact that I've been able to say no to these old patterns and beliefs because I'm welcoming something new, and that what I am welcoming that's new is that trust and certainty in God. Like, everything is from God. And so if it is from him, then why is it not good? Like, right, we are, and again, it could be God, it could be source, it could be universe, it could be creator, it could be a higher, whatever you consider that energy to be. Like, the creator is great, or right, whatever you want to decide that energy is. But if everything is meant for us and intentionally from the creator for our soul to evolve, then it has to be good, because that's what the creator is concerned about, is our soul's evolution. So that has been my biggest, like, no, Shar, you're not going there, because it doesn't serve you. And Andrea, more than anything, because I know this is going to relate to a lot of the stuff that you've been going through, but we've been kind of experiencing something very similar, but my attitude towards it has been so different. Right.
Mhm.
And it's that, no, it's that I'm not going there, because again, the other thing is, I know that I'm here on purpose. I know that what I'm doing, I was meant to do. Like, and I'm very grateful that I know what that is. But how it shows up in my world, I have trust and certainty that everything from the creator is good and is here to show me how to change me better. And that means changing my programs and beliefs. So that's
Mhm.
my no. So yay for no.
That's amazing. That's so good. And I've seen that shift in you in the last few months. And again, not to say, everything's been perfect and that, there hasn't been challenging or tests in that respect, but that you've been able to pause and say, okay, wait, how is this going for or against my intention for the year?
Mhm.
And I know how hard that is for you. I'm sure even saying no to your mom, and um, that's tough. That's tough
Mhm.
to do because it is an old program, and I think we all have that, and there's that guilt of like, oh, our parents need us and all that. And it's not to say you're not, s- doing stuff for her in other great ways, but you're setting your boundaries, which
Mhm.
is really important. So my words for this year, if just to remind everyone, was faith, fun, and flow. And so when when I came up with these words, I didn't even come up with them. I feel like they just came to me. I remember at the time thinking, yeah, like these are such beautiful words. Faith, and I was thinking faith, yes, deepening my faith in God, deepening my faith in my religious practices, in my religious, readings and prayer and practice. I'm like, yeah, that's great. And then fun, just bringing more fun into my life with things that I'm doing, activities, and then flow, and how, just going with the flow of life. And so it was very kind of like, I don't even know what to call it, like
With
optimistic
and
kind
very
of
easy, like light. Light. I think
light.
that's what it is. There was a lightness in your words.
Yeah, light and easiness. Yeah. That's what I thought was gonna be. And I'm not saying that it hasn't been beautiful, but I'll have to tell you that, January was good. Not good, but January, it was sort of in that ease, but then, February was challenging, I'll be honest. I found myself up against myself a lot in, testing um my faith in life, in what I'm meant to do, in what I'm doing, in the work we're doing. And like, just to be transparent, January tends to be a slow month for us because we do a lot of work with schools, a lot of high schools. And January, everyone's coming back from the holidays. They're prepping for exams at the end of the month and stepping into a new semester. So it tends to be a slow month for us, which is usually known. But this year in particular, for some reason, it just hit me differently. I don't know if I wasn't prepared for it, or if I don't know, but I wasn't prepared for the downtime, and my over-functioning brain tends to take over again, the old program, and I go into this panic of like, oh my gosh, what's happening? What's our next step? Are we doing enough work? Are we, you know, putting enough into our business? Are we making the right decisions? And I start to spiral. And then that leads into like other areas of my life, my health, and am I taking proper care of myself, and am I doing enough physically and mentally, and then I just tend to put all this extra pressure on myself to tick all the boxes and all this stuff. So I did not feel in flow. I
Mhm.
was not having fun, and my faith was dwindling. Like, that is basically what happened. And so I had a bit of a like an awakening at the end of February. And I have some amazing people in my life, Shar, you being one of them, that I needed to get like slapped around a bit and being like, hey, wake up. And what was so beautiful, as you said, is that you and I were going through very similar things. Like, it's our business that, we were working on together, but your response to what was happening was so different than mine. And it was beautiful because I needed you to pull me out of it and be like, listen, it's all happening as it should. Like you said, you have certainty that everything's coming from the creator and everything is good. And so that constant reminder was so beautiful. And then I spoke to another great um coach and mentor in my life, and she said the same thing. We ask the universe for these for this stuff. We're asking for faith. How are we going to receive faith in our life if our faith is not tested,
Mhm.
right? And she challenged me to say, when it comes to fun, like, look at your life, and is everything not fun? Like, can you write down some things that you are having fun with? And I was like,
Mm.
yeah, that's true. I'm having some good times with my kids, and I have some extra downtime, so I'm doing some fun things, with friends. And so it just seems like, when things pile up, we tend to go into that victim of like, oh, nothing's working out and everything is piling up, and there's no light at the end of the tunnel, when really it's usually just a small part of your life that is a little upside down at this time, but it's there to test and teach us. And it's funny because, like I said, at the beginning of the year, I didn't ask for this. And this is what I said to my friend. I'm like, but I didn't ask for that. I wanted beautiful faith and love and flow. And she's like, but that's not how lessons are given to us. And that's not
Yeah.
how you're going to learn it. And it's so true. And then the analogy of flow, and it was a beautiful analogy that she gave me, was that think about going down a river. Say you're in a kayak. The river, you're going with the flow, you're going with the current of the river, but sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's slow, sometimes there's rapids, sometimes there's rocks, sometimes it's completely flat and you have to paddle to even move.
Mhm.
So that's flow. This
Yes.
beautiful, maybe other idea of like whimsical ease that maybe I intended for that word is not actually what it is. So I have to really understand that intention of flow in my life, meaning that I am going to flow through anything that is coming through. And it's not about no, like stopping when the obstacles come, when the rapids pick up, or, when the rocks get in the way, but flowing through it regardless.
And do you have faith when you're flowing through it?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Do I
Right?
have faith?
That's
And am I having fun
yeah.
with it too, right?
Exactly,
Like, am I
exactly.
having fun going through it? So those were some big ahas for me, for sure. And I would say I like a solid 2 weeks, which is a long time for me because I can usually get out of a funk quickly. But for 2 weeks, I even ended up getting sick, and it was like a weird virus sickness. It wasn't even like a full on like cold or anything. It was just this weird thing that hit me for a few days. And I truly believe it was energetic. It was completely energetic.
Yeah.
It was just ruffling me up to be like, snap out of this. Believe in yourself, believe in your intentions, believe in this flow of your life, and that everything is working out for the best. And so that was huge for me.
Right.
And I'm not saying that those thoughts don't continue to kind of come in and be like, what's happening and all this stuff, but I catch myself and I remind myself that this is strengthening my faith.
Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, and I was scrolling on my pictures because I took a picture of this prayer, but it's the one where they say, when I asked God for strength, he gave me challenges. When I asked God for courage, he gave me this. Like, God doesn't, or the creator, or whatever you want to call it, doesn't just hand things to you. He, not he, or the creator gives you opportunities to build what you've asked for, whether it's love, strength, courage. whatever it is, opportunity, like you ask God for opportunities, and then all of a sudden, these doors open up for you, and then you have to kind of choose. So that's kind of what it reminds me of, that when we're in a place where we're trying to figure things out, and we want or we desire, it's like you have to clear up some of the old garbage before new stuff can come in. So this also reminds me a little bit about some of the work that we've been doing. And we've been taught about the vessel, like we're this beautiful vessel, right? Like
Mhm.
our soul's this beautiful vessel. And you can't put clean water in a dirty vessel, right? You just can't. It just gets dirty. So then I feel like these challenges show up in our life in order for us to cleanse the vessel. And I think the cleansing is the faith and the trust that we have in the creator. And that's what cleanses our vessel. And that's where more of that light gets to come in for us. But that's really in essence what's been happening. And you're right. You said we're going through different things, or similar things. We're going through exactly the same thing, because if we're talking about our business, right? That's We've been going through exactly the same thing. I don't know exactly what and when and how it switched in my head, but that trust part became so huge for me. Like, it's like I'm not even scared anymore. Like, I'm not scared, I'm not worried, I'm not attached. Like, it was weird. It was just really weird. I don't even know how it happened or when it
Yeah.
happened, but
And
it's
it's beautiful to see because it's like I'm sitting here going, "Well, why is she not freaking out?" And I'm not freaking out, but I'm having like a hard time with this, and she's so at ease. And again, it comes back to this whole idea of like perception, right? And you know, the way we perceive things, and really it's a choice,
Mhm.
right? And like if you think about anything that you might be worrying about right now, and can you shift your perception on it?
Mhm.
Because yeah, like you can worry about this and it could become the end of your world and it's affecting everything that you do, or you can choose to shift your perspective on it and have trust that it's showing up for you for a reason, and that it too shall pass, and you're divinely guided and everything is coming to you in divine timing. Like it's just that little switch. And even though I knew all those things, and again, like I'm not showing up here as a perfect person and doing everything right all the time. I'm showing up as vulnerable and
Mm.
honest as I can, that I struggle with these things too, and I have to constantly be reminded as well. And even when I am reminded, because Shar, you've been like right from the beginning, you were like, come on, like, this is good. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But, and then I still had trouble with it. And it took a few weeks to snap out of it and be like, okay, come on now. You
You
know
know what?
better.
You know what stuck with me when you were experiencing this is I not only just the struggle that we were having, let's say in the business, or what January looked like. Let's say we weren't really struggling, but we know January's slow, like no big deal, right? Like that's normal. That's our building and creative time. Like, it's where we decide and we build our plan for the year, which is great. But the thing that you said to me that stuck out was, so it wasn't only just what was happening in the business, like with the business, but your concern with me. You're like, I feel like I'm bringing you down, or I feel like I'm
Mhm.
holding you back. And it was so interesting because I've never looked at it that way. Like, I have down times too, but I never think about me holding you back. I think of you being my support to walk next to me while I go through things. And so I thought that that was an interesting perspective for you as well, to
Mhm.
think about why you thought you were letting me down, because you really weren't. And what was my response to you? I said, we're practically married. Like, right? Like, we're in this very, very intimate relationship, not only because we're such good friends and, like soul sisters on a like a very deep level, but we're also business partners. So for me, it was like, okay, well, when your partner is in a place where they're feeling, you know, really low, what do you do as a partner? So for me, it was like to walk with you, to encourage you, and then sometimes just be quiet and hold space for you while you came out of it. But had the I also trusted that you would eventually get out of it. I just needed to be there and hold that space for you to do it. And I know that it's not just one way. Like, Andrew, you've done that for me so many times. Like,
Mhm.
for me, my biggest challenge is the summer, right? Because between September and June, we're like, go, 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 go. And then all of a sudden, July, things get so quiet. And that's when my heart starts going into like panic
Mhm.
mode, like, oh my God, what's going on? We've got 2 months, we're not doing anything, we're idle, you know?
Mhm.
Um, so I know that you're always there to support me and walk me through those things. And it's so funny, right? Because we need to appreciate the downtime. Like, this is really the downtime is really where all that creation happens, right? That's where all the lessons are learned, and it's where all those, I don't want to say demons, but like it's where all of that other crap shows up. And so this is the thing about being busy, right? When we're busy, we don't even have time to think about it. And that's probably why a lot of people like to be busy is,
Mhm.
and busy is rewarded because they don't have to slow down and think about the things that are not working out or going wrong in their life, right? But as soon as you slow down, you come face to face with all of the lessons that you have to learn, right? And that's it. Like, Andrew, you cannot move forward. You can't go into February. You can't go into March. You can't go into the second quarter of this year until you face some of your old programs and beliefs. So here they are. Let's talk about it. Let's deal with it. Walk through it. Have trust, have certainty, and then we can move on, right? Because really at the end of the day, we can't, and this is the other thing, right? Again, from some of the stuff that we're learning, like, we can't level up if we're taking our old garbage with us. Like, how are we climbing the rungs of the ladder when we're carrying a sack of stones with us? Like, it just doesn't happen. So
Exactly.
this is what we're letting go of, right? And those stones are our beliefs, our programs. We can't move forward with those,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And also it is in these tests and these, call them setbacks or call them
Setups.
setups,
Mhm,
whatever, that we really learn our lessons, right?
mhm,
Like that is why they show up.
mhm.
It's to teach us.
Right.
And when things are going good, things are going good, right? You're moving along, you're busy, you're whatever, and that's what's happening. And then when things aren't going good, it's like all of a sudden you forget about what was going good, and now it's everything's bad,
Mhm,
right? So to be reminded that everything is temporary,
mhm.
the good and the not so good, right? Everything is in flow.
Right.
And when we learn to ride that wave, and I'm telling you, I had to be reminded of that, to just stay riding the wave and just breathe into it. I did a lot of movement, and that was the other thing with the downtime. I was able to get to more yoga classes and movement classes and have some of that space to move the energy through my body, so that physically it wasn't taking over too much. I mean, mentally for sure it was, but physically it wasn't. And
And think about what we did in that time. Like, we weren't out physically doing lessons or events or anything like that, but think about the creativity that was flowing between you and I, and what
Mhm.
we were able to build in this time, which
Yeah,
again is so necessary, right?
exactly, exactly. So listen, these are our lessons that have shown up for us in this first quarter of the year. And if you're feeling stuck, or if you're feeling in this low space right now, just know that it truly is something to learn from, and it's there to teach you and to set you up for what's to come. So just stay in your faith, in your trust, stay in flow, try to have some fun with it, say no when you need to, and believe that this too shall pass.
Mhm. So
And
true.
you will come out the other side. And I'm not even saying this because I'm like completely off the other side, but I'm definitely through the worst of it. I could feel, and just that shift in perspective, and speaking to trusted family and friends and people that can really put you back on track is really important for
Mhm.
sure.
I agree.
So yeah, so that's our little update for everyone. Please let us know if you've set intentions for the year and how you're doing with them, if this has resonated with you. If you have any questions, we love to hear from you. And if there is any other topics that you want us to discuss, we are going to have some new guests on the show. Christina will be back for sure, and we have some other guests that are going to tell their beautiful stories about life and lessons and change and all that beautiful stuff. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for being here. Please like and follow our podcast, and we will see you soon.
Bye, everyone. Take care.